we got to talk about the continued fallout with BBCE and how that affects the sports card hobby. If you don't know what I'm talking about, the Logan Paul $3.5 million fake case of first edition Pokemon cards was authenticated by the owner of BBCE as well as others within the company and opened on camera, and everybody got to see the reactions of every single person that got duped. But it's frustrating when the experts get duped. You know, when you're like a buyer, it makes sense. But when you're looking to the experts, you know, you're only good for one thing, authenticating it. And it's pretty crazy that this happened on camera in 2022. I think that's the only way that we'd be able to see it unfolding the way that we do now with YouTube, with people having a big following. Just a situation that is terrible for everybody. And I saw a tweet from Darren Ravel talking about the fallout from the Logan Paul Pokemon case fraud. Lots of other items, guys. Speaking of the authentication, it's why I'm talking about BBCE and their reputation so much, because their authentication obviously has been really started with sports card products. I mean, BBCE is a baseball card exchange. That's what it's short for, if you did not know. So I guess that does warrant some part of the conversation. So anyways, they have a ton of other products that have stretched into the hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars for sales that are sealed cases that now kind of come under scrutiny, don't you think? I mean, for instance, Darren Ravel talking about this Logan Paul Pokemon case fraud, bringing up the 1986 Fleer basketball case. This was authenticated and sold for $1.78 million, authenticated by BBCE. The 86 Fleer case, if you don't know what I'm talking about, the 86 Fleer set has the infamous Michael Jordan rookie card in it. So what do you guys think? Does that have to be opened? I think it does. I think you have to open every single case worth over like $100,000 or $200,000 that BBCE has authenticated, just to make sure that they actually know what they're talking about. Brian Peake says, why are sealed cases even authenticated? A cardboard box with labels and stop tape is easier to fake than actual boxes. And that's true, but authenticating those kinds of products, the point in doing that, essentially, if you're a guy that sees those coming out of the factory, or, you know, for instance, a first edition case of Pokemon cards, which was coming off the printers back in like the late 90s, and you were around at the time, you know, those are the people that you're going to go to with knowledge. And what it sounds like to me, like with this tape, you know, not being tampered with or anything, because I don't know if like they loaded these boxes from the bottom of the box from the other side, if that's how they were able to fool all these authenticators. They took basically an untouched case from, you know, how many years ago, just very, very carefully slit open the bottom where hopefully people wouldn't notice. I love it. Patrick Navarez says, you have one job, or Narvaez says, you have one job, and you can't even authenticate it. It's sad. And this was the owner of BBCE, so it's not like their company, you know, he's going to get fired, or they're going to be people that are going to be losing their jobs, because it's literally the owner that made his own company look like crap. That's like if I did something to make myself look stupid. You know, at that point, you should fire yourself. It's kind of sad. You really should. But yeah, I'm just wondering if the way that they did it, you know, is something that people weren't really looking at. But yeah, the knowledge of how those cases look coming off the factory really does hold some merit in the hobby. So that's kind of the reason that people authenticate cases, because one, I know that this is a little bit more common nowadays than maybe back in the late 90s, early 2000s, but there are a lot of case hits now. So when you're talking about hobby boxes, specifically in the world of sports cards, you say like 10 or 12 are in each case. They're usually in those cases for most releases is contained like one chance at a big hit. And that's how some people gamble in the hobby. Like you guys, some of you just buy like a couple of packs to rip open to try and see if you can pull a big card. Some people, you know, have the budget to buy a couple of boxes to see if you can rip open to find those big cards. Some people buy the cases.
Good luck with that.
The suspect stories and the two different stories that came from the seller about where this case of Pokemon cards came from. I mean, if you guys, I've dove pretty deep into the background on this whole BBCE fake authentication of Pokemon cards for Logan Paul. Out $3.5 million. However, he did get a refund, it sounds like. But the seller originally on eBay, guys, this was originally found as a case of first edition Pokemon cards on eBay, up for, like, I think it was sold for $90,000 or $100,000 Canadian. And two different stories came from the seller about where he got it. One was that he was out basically estate sailing with his older sister, bored, found a bunch of Pokemon cards, including this sealed case one day. And then the other story was that he was holding on to the case that he got as a present for his 12th birthday, which it's weird that the story changes two different times. And when that's happening, obviously it's pretty sketchy. And I don't understand how you can actually put thousands upon tens of thousands of dollars into an item. I mean, there's the emotional bias there, so you want it to be real. You're hoping. I think we all saw that reaction out of Logan Paul in the video itself when they were opening those boxes. Really, really trying, to not just make your money, but have fun opening a box of nostalgia, essentially. So you want it to be real. And I think that might be something that people are buying with, that emotion, as opposed to brains when it comes to Pokemon cards like that. But also, this was supposedly the last first edition case of Pokemon cards out there.
And it's gone.
G.I. Joe. Da-da-da-da-da.